House of Representatives seeks amendment of EFCC Act. House to investigate MDAs on withholding retention funds. And House pursues amendment of Cabotage Act. Another edition of You and Your Reps is upon us, and it's a pleasure to have you join us. My name is Victor Azu. Welcome. For close to 2 decades, 18 years to be precise, this government agency fought tooth and nail with criminals in the financial realm, recovering looted funds in local and hard currencies in the process, which government is channeling into areas of need. Now, the 9th House of Representatives feels the need to motivate the agency to do more and has therefore commenced a legislative process to that effect. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports on the EFCC Amendment Bill, which just passed second reading.
The bill seeking to amend the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission Act has, among others, a provision to enable the EFCC retain a percentage of recovered loot to fund its operations, and a time frame within which a person appointed as acting executive chairman could occupy the office in that capacity.
The structure and composition of the commission by including members of independent organizations in its membership, establishments and operation review committee, witness protection unit.
House Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila made this observation on one of the amendments.
Honorable Osai's portion of the bill is that anybody that is convicted should be disqualified from holding office in the bill. But I'm saying that that has to be a constitutional amendment, at least that portion of it.
Other bills passed as second reading include a bill to establish Federal Polytechnic in Renu, Kano State, sponsored by Kabiru Alhassan Rurum. A bill to establish Federal College of Agriculture, Ishagu, Abia State, from Benjamin Okezie Kalu. A bill to establish Institute of Economists of Nigeria, sponsored by Solomon Maren. And a bill to establish National Youth Development Commission, sponsored by Karu Simon Elisha and 3 others. House members adopted a motion from Representative Khadija Ibrahim and 5 others, urging authorities to assist victims of Boko Haram attack in parts of Gujuba, Yobe State.
Efforts of security operatives have been commended for daily patrolling the roads. However, there is need to improve the current strategies of curbing the insistent attacks.
The House is set to conduct an audit probe of funds expended on the rehabilitation of refineries.
NNPC had allegedly spent about 25 billion in turnaround maintenance of refineries in the past 25 years.
And as the world marks Tuberculosis Day, the House suggested urgent intervention from government to curb the spread of the disease.
The House of Representatives has passed a resolution to investigate allegations of non-release of retention funds to contractors running into billions of naira by ministries, departments and agencies of government. Now, the House at plenary observed that such funds are neither captured as generated revenue nor accounted for.
The issue of non-release of retention funds to contractors was raised by Representative Abubakar Maki Elima. The House noted that the Fiscal Responsibility Commission had in 2020 accused MDAs of failing to remit such funds.
For the past 10 years, most of the MDAs are not remitting the retention fees meant for contractors. That is why even the Fiscal Responsibility Commission has raised the issue of 1.2 billion in respect of almost 122 MDAs that they are not remitting. By releasing those funds to our local contractors so that they create more jobs to our teeming youths. So by holding that, they are also contributing in squeezing the economy, apart from the situation the country finds itself.
Other features at plenary include the second reading of a bill to establish Federal College of Education at Tudunwadan Ankade in Kano State, sponsored by House Leader Alhassan Adudugwa, a bill to repeal and reenact the Advertising Practitioners Act, sponsored by Representative Abdulrazak Namdas, and the bill to amend Tertiary Education Trust Fund, sponsored by the House Chief Whip Mohammed Tahir Manguno, and 2 others.
Now, the House of Representatives is advocating greater involvement of local players in commercial activities on coastal waters. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali again reports that a bill to that effect has now passed second reading.
Sponsor of the bill seeking to amend the Coastal and Inland Shipping Act, Representative Linda Ikpazu, pointed out that some level of restriction should be placed on foreign vessels used for commercial activities on domestic waters in order to promote development of indigenous tonnage.
We have a lot of administrative bottlenecks, and this has shortchanged the Nigerian people and the government.
Cabotage law is very important, especially if it has to be made effective.
Other bills passed at second reading include a bill to move quarantine from exclusive to concurrent list, sponsored by Tajuddin Abbas, a bill to establish Federal College of Education Bende, Abia State, sponsored by Benjamin Okezie Kalu, and a bill seeking amendments of the National Directorate of Employment Act from Bamidele Salam.
The objectives of the Directorate: review the composition of the board and enhance its funding regime of the Directorate for better access to credit facilities for youth self-empowerment.
The House Deputy Speaker's bill seeking amendments to the Orthopedic Hospitals Management Act received the support of members.
We have a balanced system of our healthcare services within the orthopedic sector in Nigeria.
Meanwhile, 8 bills were passed during plenary.
It's an upgrade. There is already University of Agric. That is a satellite campus, like, so to say, College of Agric.
So the university is
affiliated to among the Bello Universities area that has been there since 1962. And those colleges that were created that time, along with this college, have now been upgraded to full-fledged conventional universities. It's only University of Agric in Kaba that is still a College of Agric, that is not a full-fledged university. So I think that in 8th Assembly there was a bill seeking for the upgrade. I think till the end of that period, the university was not, the bill was not passed by the House. It was passed in the Senate because it's a Senate bill, but there's need for concurrence here in the House. But before the 8th Assembly wound down, it wasn't passed. That's why. And from what I have from the chairman, Rules and Business, who brought the bill today, he said any bill that needs the House concurrence and then is not passed by the House and the Assembly elapsed, they can still bring it back by way of motion, which they did on the 10th of March 2020, and now brought it finally. There was a bill also that even I went for, seeking to establish the same university from the Senate through Senator's Party. And there was public hearing on it on that Monday. So we are even expecting the bill to come to the House so that we will pass it. But now it's the same Federal University of Agriculture, the same name. But it's like there are some modifications in his own, because his own is trying to talk about multi-campuses. That there should be, it shouldn't be in Kaba alone. There should be a satellite campus, or let's say an extension of the university in Omidam. There is a dam built by federal government, and that dam is just wasting away. And since we are talking about agriculture, it is equally good if the campus, let's say major part of that campus can be in that site, so that they can do a lot of research, they can grow a lot of crops, and there are a lot of arable lands there that they can use. Now that the bill has been passed, I think what I will beg of the National Assembly is the modifications that is in the current one that Senator Trout is trying to bring. They should just put it in this one that is already passed and let it go, instead of us to start all over again. So it will make the journey so very fast. The university will be established faster.
The House has adjourned plenary to 13th April 2021 for the upcoming Easter celebration.
Ordinarily, accent suggests the expression of approval or agreement. But does it mean exactly the same to Nigeria's House of Representatives? What do you think? Come with me, let's go check with the Chairman House Committee on Rules and Business, Abubakar Fulata.
Whenever the two chambers, bills go through first reading, second reading, and third reading, whichever chamber, if the House of Representatives was the one who initiated it first, it will go through all the readings, and then we pass it to Senate for concurrence. If the bill was initiated from the Senate, after going first reading, second reading, third reading, they will now bring it to the House of Representatives for concurrence. Now, after the two chambers have agreed, have concurred, have agreed, then it will now be transmitted to the President for assent. The President has 30 days, okay, to assent to that bill, agree or sign or approve, give his consent to that bill, in which case he will now convey to the National Assembly now as an institution, single institution, no longer Senate and Rep now. He will convey his approval or his withholding of assent, saying that he has not been able to assent to that bill because of so reasons. If in the wisdom of the National Assembly it has agreed with the argument of Mr. President, then the bill, the relevant sections will now be rectified in line with the requirements of Mr. President, and then it will be sent back to him for assent, for his assent, in which case he will agree. If, however, the National Assembly disagrees with the position of the Mr. President, the National Assembly can override the veto of Mr. President, in which case the presidential assent is no longer required. Whether he likes it, whether he approves it or not, it has become a law to be gazetted as such. That's all. And all institutions of government must work with that law.
The House of Representatives recently concluded its constitution review, again underlining the importance of the process to the 9th House of Representatives. On our part, we shall sustain the conversation by engaging members on the demands of their various constituents. In this edition, we bring to you our conversation with the member representing Nasarawa Totu Federal Constituency of Nasarawa State, Abdul Mumin Ari.
But one thing I find out that it is not being balanced to my mind or heart. Waking up a day to see, based on the political reason, somebody will come up and say so Emir should be moved away from his seat. That alone is not giving me a rest in mind. It also has been a kind of a good 16th on ground that will help to checkmate this kind of activities. You cannot just come. Let it be like other constitutions. Whoever an emir made so as a human, then let it be taken into trial until he is found guilty of what he did. Then the offense must be spelled out clearly in the Constitution of the Republic of Nigeria that whoever did this is going to be applies to him. One of the issues that is bothering me is about this.
Now you know. In the meantime, one of the areas of review being suggested in the ongoing constitutional amendment in the House of Representatives is the creation of more states. What do the people think? You and your reps went to town to find out.
I'm not in support of that. The reason why I'm not in support of that, to allocate resources will be another problem. Even the states we have now, to do allocation to this state is a problem. Talk more of adding more. So there's going to be another problem, and the cost of administration too is going to be enlarged.
Yeah, I support it. The reason is it's going to help for employment. It will help in job creative and employment for the youth. You know, it also creates a means of generating revenue for the state and also for the country.
I don't think that is a necessary. So long as the 36 states that we have so far, we cannot be able to sustain them. I don't see there is reason for more states. If eventually for any reason we can be able to maintain this one, it's okay, you understand?
Sure, I'm in support of it. Like in Kogi State now, you see the Yoruba speaking in Kogi State, they also have sent them back to where they're supposed to belong to, like Ekiti State, because they call them Oko in Kogi State, but they have no say there. Since the creation of state, none of them have become governor, either deputy. No, it's no more than that. So it's okay for the government if they can create more states and create Okon State.
This week on You and Your Reps, the committee segment examines the functions of the House Committee on Public Accounts, chaired by Representative Oluwole. He represents the Oriade Obokun Federal Constituency of Osun State.
Is one of the two committees, the crafters of the Constitution, listed in the Constitution, Section 85, to receive and consider the reports of the Auditor General of the Federation. I know the Auditor General of the Federation has a constitutional mandate to audit accounts of all the MDAs, conduct periodic checks on the books of corporations or any individuals or agencies put in place by the Parliament. So the job of the Auditor General is wide, and even when the Auditor General must have laid his or reports. Section 88, 89 of the Constitution also gave the committee windows, when you want to procure evidences and all that, to invite any persons, in the course of doing a work. So essentially, as the representative of the people, were the window through which Nigerians, citizens, can see, how their money has been utilized. The biggest problem we have is that the Auditor General's report has never come as at when due. That is the biggest problem we have. In fact, the former Auditor General had to work on previous year's audit, even when it was not there. So as we speak, we're in 2021. The Part B of 2018 has not been laid. The report of the Auditor General on Part 2 of 2018 is yet to be laid. There are also reports on some agencies like NPA, Nigerian Post Authority, NPDC, Niger Data Power, some strategic institutions, agencies. We call them standalone. The Auditor General decides in order not to waste time. He told us we'll be bringing some standalone reports. So all those reports of some key agencies are still outstanding. As at 2018, and you're in 2021. So you have 2018, 19, 20 outstanding. So the former Auditor General worked hard to produce, to sign off 2017 and part of 2018 that he laid before he left. So the new Auditor General has a very huge work to do. So it's not the best. It's not, because the actors who want to render accounts of their stewardship, often than none, they go into retirement, then there are various villages, they are old, and you start looking for them. So we have that problem. The 8th Assembly Park, of which I was a member, tried to work from 2010 to 2014. Unfortunately for the 8th Assembly Park, we were only able to lay and consider 2010 report only. So I inherited the final work of 8th Assembly on 2011, 12, 13 and part of 2014. And for the new members who came in the 9th Assembly to join me, to hold this document, speak to it, then they need to really go through the liver and kidney. But in order not to allow the expenses, the expenditure incurred in producing those reports of 2010, 11 to 14 to go into waste, vis-a-vis funds from donor agencies that supported us in midwifing those reports, we resolved to own the documents. So we will be going into a special, retreat to review. Well, because if you are owning the document, you should know what is inside the document. So what we've resolved is that, okay, we'll go into a retreat of a week or two. We'll look at what the 8th Assembly did from 11 to 14, then bring it up to speed, up to date with that of 18. We expect that these agencies will honor our invitation, speak to the queries, and then you see that we uphold the position of the Auditor General, right, or we clear the agencies. But by and large, what we have resolved today is that if we invite you 1, 2, 3 times, we don't see you. It means that you have your right of reply. You've thrown it away. and then we'll simply adopt the prayers of the Auditor General. And my worry is that sometimes you have some criminal liabilities that may arise from such issue, and that's why the right of fair hearing should actually be enjoyed by these actors, by citizens, you know. But I can assure you that we would make sure that we consider all outstanding queries and lay our reports.
I would like to wish the House Committee on Public Accounts all the very best in its assignment. And with that, we come to the end of this edition of You and Your Reps. My name is Victor Azu. See you next time.